What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to Misconception. I am your host, Niko House, and I come to you with some pretty crazy but expected news. Bernie Sanders has met with his team. This is today. This happened today as we are speaking at this moment. Actually, it happened like 2 hours ago, so not exactly as we are speaking right now, but you get the drift. This is breaking. This is, whew! If there is a God, I want to thank him because Lord knows we can't have Cory Booker and Kamala Harris running the show in the Democratic Party. Not at all. Don't want nothing to do with that. Wipe my hands clean of them. Now, I urge you all to share this message because I think it is I think we're gonna have a little conversation about a lot of things that some people need to hear. Now, whether they want to hear it or not, I don't know. But they need to hear it. But before we get started, I do want to urge you all to join our One Follow $1 campaign on Patreon. All you have to do is go to www.patreon.com/Mikasa, or you can just click on the Patreon link in the description below. If that is easier for you, that is perfectly fine. Also, make sure that you check out our newest podcast on either Podbean, Stitcher, or iTunes. All you have to do is type in MCSC Politics or Mikasa with Niko House. It's pretty easy to find, but if you can't find that, you can also click in the link in the description below. Make sure that you also join us on our road to 10,000 subscribers. We are getting there, inching ever closer every single day. And thank you all so much who have been part of this amazing journey. We started from absolute scratch and we are here. No big, corporate media, no, news organization. I'm talking about we had an iPhone 6 and some headphones when we first started, if y'all remember. And we have come quite a long way. So I want to thank you all so much who have helped us get to this point so far. Now, Bernie Sanders is meeting with his team to run in 2020. He says, supposedly, I don't know if I've made my decision yet. I'm going to tell you this. Hillary Clinton also didn't know if she made her decision yet. Okay? Barack Obama also didn't know if he made his decision yet. John McCain, hell, Joe Biden gave us a flat out no. And then he clearly has changed his mind. This is usually, you don't want to announce you're running too early because then you kind of put a target on your back. But like I've said before, I always knew he was going to run in 2020 because immediately after the Democratic primary, he began putting his face back into the spotlight, which is only a commonality shown amongst candidates who intend on running for a major office. Not necessarily for the president, but just for any major office, or they want to be in contention for a major office in the eyes of the people. I mean, think about Cory Booker. Everybody like Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Oh my God, wouldn't they be so awesome together? I have absolutely no idea what their history is like. But they're light-skinned and they say really nice and fluffy things. And they both, I think, hate Trump. But I have zero idea what any of them have ever done in history. That's pretty much where a lot of Americans are right now. So I'm glad that Bernie is kind of putting this out there like, hey, everybody, pay attention. Because it's almost time. Y'all ain't thought about it, but it's about that time. Like, it's crazy because the presidential election passes by. It seems like, or the president's tenure passes by so fast because we had all of 2017. So then there's 2018, which is going to have the interim elections. And then 2019, mid 2019 is when you're supposed to start running. Well, yeah, mid 2019 is when you're supposed to start running. But if you're Bernie Sanders, you have to start running like today. Because as we saw with Hillary Clinton, she started running about 8 years ago. So I just have one little problem. I can't get a phone call, Bernie. You know what I'm saying? I can't get no text message. Shannon got my email address and my phone number. Okay. Jane, you have my phone number too. Don't play. And y'all got my personal email address and my private email address. Y'all got both of my email addresses. We friends on Facebook. Levy, we friends on Facebook, dog. So I know you got a call to the meeting. You can't tell me you ain't get called to the meeting, Levy. For those of you who don't know who Levy Sanders is, that's Bernie's son. We friends on Facebook. Jane, we friends on Facebook. Nina, I know you got invited to the meeting too. We follow each other on Twitter. Tulsi, you probably got invited too. We follow each other on Twitter, but I ain't get invited to the meeting, y'all. I ain't get invited to the meeting. I don't get invited to these things now. Y'all messed up for that. Yo, who making fun of me? Hold up. I want to see what y'all got to say. Damn right, go Bernie. I forgot my iPad. That's why I have to turn around. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Bernie Sanders is running for 2020. And if you know better, you better get ready to vote for him. I mean, of course, if there is a better candidate somehow, some way, I'm not saying don't vote for the better candidate. So don't misconstrue my words. Don't turn my words around. Not what I'm saying. What I am saying is many people who may dislike Bernie Sanders at the moment, they dislike him because of things that he said or did at the very, very end of the primary, or at the or right after the election, right? So one of the things I dislike that Bernie Sanders did, I do not like the fact that obviously that he endorsed Hillary, but in the contract that he signed, it said he would have to endorse Hillary. He's an honorable man. He keeps up with his end of the bargain. Got it. I still think that if she dishonored her end of the bargain, which by cheating, in my opinion, she did dishonor her end of the bargain, I wouldn't do it, but Bernie Sanders is a different guy than I am, which is, for the most part, a good thing. Okay? So I didn't like the fact that he endorsed Hillary. But after he left Obama's office that day, he looked like a broken and bruised man. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Not physically, but emotionally and mentally. I did not like the fact that he suspended the rules and nominated her. Did not like that at all. But, once again, I understand why he did it. Now, understand, by the way, when he did that, when he suspended the rules to nominate Hillary Clinton at the Democratic National Convention, he did that because if Hillary Clinton were to be indicted by the FBI, because he only suspended the rules, he would actually be next in line to be the president, or excuse me, to run against Donald Trump if somehow, some way, Hillary Clinton ended up being indicted. So that's why he did it that way, which is a good thing. But I want to talk to y'all really quick, because some people have this misconception that Bernie just threw you under the bus. Like he's out here flaunting $700 jackets now in the middle of winter in Vermont. Oh God, can't accept gifts from his kids now. The hell, I don't know. People be reaching, man, and it's crazy too because like it'd be like capitalist conservative Republicans who be mad at the weirdest stuff when it comes to Bernie. Like the neoliberals, they say nonsense, but they say nonsense about everybody and everything. The neocons who don't like Bernie say some weird stuff because they're supposed to be conservative, but and by that I mean they're supposed to be like capitalists, pro-capitalism. Then like he buys a house that's like $350,000 on the beach, and if you don't know anything about real estate, that's cheap. That is dirt cheap. That's if I'm gonna put it like this: if you were in Miami or California, specifically California, you would have to check that place for cockroaches. If you got a $350,000 beach house, that's where you were. So, granted, there were legitimate circumstances behind it, like they sold one of Jane's houses. Oh yeah, and he makes $300,000 a year or close to it as a senator, maybe, and Jane's income is not that much worse. Okay, they can afford $350,000. At their income, they could afford $1 million house, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But they complain. They're saying that he sold out. He got a $350,000 house. $350,000 house is not that expensive. It is not even a legitimate critique. The dude's 76 years old, 77 years old. He wants to buy a $350,000 house. Bro, you have been fighting for civil rights your entire freaking life. I don't care. Go buy $1 million house. You deserve it. Matter of fact, if you ask me, this is how you know that Bernie Sanders is an extremely unselfish person. Why the hell are you still out here fighting? Go enjoy your kids. Go enjoy your wife, your awesome wife. Go enjoy your grandkids. Retire. Take time off. Go play chess. And go on vacation. But he doesn't. He didn't. What, y'all think that he wants to be rich? It's a little late to just now want to be rich for the first time ever in your life. I tell people, when it comes to politics, there's one way, really, and it's a good litmus test. Because no politician's perfect. None. Not at all. But it's a litmus test you can follow. When, for example, Bernie Sanders, before he came into the political arena, and, you know, as a popular candidate, you had no idea who the hell he was unless you were from Vermont. I know a couple of people from North Carolina knew who he was because we were actually supposed to have him speak at one point. But for the most part, he wasn't like Cory Booker into your face, right? He wasn't Kamala Harris, bam, right at you. He wasn't Dianne Feinstein and what's the other, Kirsten Gillibrand and like he wasn't thrown at you. Why? Well, because he was getting things done. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing in his positions. Didn't you don't think about it like this. You went to sleep one day. Vermont was one of the most conservative states in the country. You woke up the next day and all of a sudden they were the first state to legalize equal rights for marriage. It's like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. You don't think anything about it, right? You go to sleep again. You wake up the next day. All of a sudden, Burlington, Vermont is 95% renewable energy. And then you talk to people from Vermont and they say, yeah, I actually know Bernie. Like, not joking. Like, this guy, would eat at the same coffee shop. He would just sit down, and he was only in DC when it was time to do DC work. But most of the time he was in Burlington with his constituency. He would eat coffee with his drink coffee, with his constituents. He would shop at the same clothing store. He would talk to people. You didn't hear about it because he was doing his job. Why? The mainstream media, as we know at this point, does not propagate candidates who do their job. They propagate candidates who they want you to think are doing their job. It's like the Grammys or the Emmys or the Oscars, but more specifically the Grammys. You remember that year that Sam Smith randomly won? Sam Smith is an amazing artist, very talented, great voice. I'm like addicted to like at least 2 or 3 of his songs, and I didn't even know were his. But that's not the point. The point is, before the Grammys, I had this much idea who the hell Sam Smith was. And if you all recall, that is why it was such a big deal when he won. I think it was Beyonce he beat or something like that. And they felt like she got shafted by Sam Smith because we didn't know who Sam Smith was. Literally nobody knew who Sam Smith was. So in their minds, how could this person win an award based on popularity when nobody knew who he was? Because they don't care. That award was given to him not so that you can know who he was, not because you knew who he was. It's so that in the future, you would start paying attention to him. Because he does have a very marketable voice, a very marketable talent. He's very marketable skills to particular record labels. And guess who is on and guess who's in the academy that selects all these artists? People from record labels, friends of people from record labels, executive. Like, you see what I'm saying? They see that somebody has a potential to make money for them, and therefore they bolster them. Whether or not they deserve the award is irrelevant. It is just like politics. I've used this example before. There is a congresswoman right now in Orlando, Florida, but she's a U.S. congresswoman. You probably don't know who she is. If I said her name, you wouldn't know either. You know what she's doing everything she is supposed to. She provides funding for veterans. She's on the right side of the vote for healthcare every single time. She introduces legislation that is extremely progressive, and you have never heard of her. Why? Because she's doing what she's supposed to do. The Justice Democrats actually tried to run somebody against her by accident. Same thing with Bernie Sanders. He did not do everything that I would have liked him to do. He did not behave in the manner that I would have liked him to behave after he lost the election. However, I'm also not an idiot. Understand, the Democratic Party, he didn't know what he was going to do. I think he didn't know he was going to run for office. If you know Bernie's history, he never actually, he's never ran for office only one time. Not ever in his life. So I doubt he's going to start now. But if you know Bernie Sanders' history, people, he also he's a chess player. That's the best way to put it. I won't say he's strategic because that sounds like he is strategic, but he's a chess player. And he's always 3 to 4 steps ahead. It's like I've told people time and time again. I want Bernie to run third party as well, but I'm not putting it up to Bernie Sanders at 77 years old to start a third party. That is freaking ludicrous. That's ludicrous. That makes no sense. Also said, Bernie Sanders didn't know if he wanted to run Democrat. He was actually at some point considering the draft Bernie. He was considering it. He said they have to meet a certain amount of criteria. They did not meet that criteria. And that's pretty much the same thing with the Green Party. None of those parties or organizations had the infrastructure that Bernie Sanders needed. And so he could not risk, at that point, he could not risk being excommunicated totally from the Democratic Party. He couldn't. Because if he reneged on his contract, if he talked in a way that was damaging, because he can't, if he says something like the Democratic Party needs to take care of its voters, you can't kick him out for that. You can't refuse him for, like, yeah, y'all do. What is he saying that's factually wrong? The Democratic Party needs to listen to its voters. The Democratic Party needs to know that the voters know what's best. They need to appeal more to the working class. They need to take notes from the 99% because they are telling you what they want. The Democratic Party lost this election because Hillary Clinton did not campaign in Ohio. He says facts when he's speaking about the Democratic Party. So therefore, if they tried to stop him from running under their banner, they would not be able to do so because he would sue and he would win. He would sue and he would win. Immediately, by the way. It's not like he has to go campaign a lot anymore. He would sue, they would do an emergency session, an emergency hearing, he would win, and then you'd be double screwed because he would sue you for all the money all of the time that he was not able to campaign, like legitimately, he would sue you for that. He would win. You're already bankrupt as a party. Now, I'm telling you this because, like I said, we just need to really come to the realization that, like, he always was planning to run in 2020. People feel like abandonment issues. I understand some people got daddy issues. Like, look, dog, Bernie's not your daddy. Okay, he's not even your grandpa. He's kind of like grandpa, but he's not your grandpa. Okay, he's not the person that abandoned you. He's not your boyfriend that abandoned you. He's not your husband that abandoned you. Look. He had a plan the entire time, but he could not execute it until he saw how things fell into place. The Democratic Party, I agree with a lot of you, will absolutely try to cheat him again. Of course they will. But nowhere near the extent of what they tried to do this election. Why? What is a couple of reasons why? Remember what Donna Brazile said, which I believe there is some truth to it, given what we know. It said that Hillary Clinton was being bolstered by the state parties and by a lot of different people within the party at the local levels and at the DNC level because the party was dead broke. And so really the only fundraising vessel that they had that could bring them back above water would be Hillary Clinton. It could have been Bernie Sanders, but they screwed that up. They're broke. I don't know how they're planning on winning anything in 2018. Because they're broke. The local chapters are broke. The shutdown was partially, and this is from Tim Canova, by the way. He got information saying that the shutdown was a fundraising scam by Schumer, which I believe. Partially a fundraising scam. But they're broke. And who is the most popular candidate in the... Oh, damn, Bernie Sanders, the only person who can even raise you $1 at this point. Right? The only person who can raise you $1 is Bernie Sanders. Cory Booker is not nearly as... You think... See, and this is where people get it twisted, right? They see Facebook likes, Facebook posts, retweets, views, and they're like, oh yeah, Cory Booker has it in the bag. Kamala Harris has it in the bag. They may have this much of a chance in the actual election, which I don't believe, because that whole I'm half black thing isn't going to work in Wisconsin. It's not going to work in most of Michigan. It's not going to work in Ohio, Kansas, Idaho. I mean, I can go on. That shit doesn't, they don't care about that. The half black thing, as far as winning the majority of the states you need to win the electoral college, that died with Obama. That shock value is gone. But I tell you where also isn't going to win you votes at. It's not going to win you votes in the primary, because that fake excitement, once they hear you on stage and you have to address Bernie Sanders, hey, why exactly didn't you vote for pharmaceuticals, for more inexpensive pharmaceuticals? Oh, okay. Well, you've been a senator for this long. I've introduced Medicare for all. Why didn't you co-sign on it? Now, Kamala Harris can save her ass and say, I did co-sign on it. Oh, speaking of which, Kamala, appreciate you talking. Come here real quick. What's up with all these crime bills? What's up with this mandatory minimum that you did? What's up with you bailing out banks in California? What's going on, bruh? Once they get exposed, and like I said, I'm a progressive, and I do this full time now. You know how much fun we're going to have exposing Kamala Harris and Cory Booker? That's going to be a full-time job, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. I'm going to love it. And there's a lot of us out there that are waiting. We waiting our keyboards like, I hope they run for office. It's going to make it so much easier. And they're going to run Elizabeth Warren. They're going to run Joe Biden, who is about as exciting as a pimple on prom night. They're going to run Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Kristen Gillibrand. They're going to have about 10 candidates up there, y'all. Guess how many of them are as popular as Bernie Sanders? Zero. If they oversaturate the competition for the Democratic Party, there is one person who is definitively, without question, more popular than all of them. Bernie Sanders. Think the most popular candidate that y'all had outside of Bernie was Hillary Clinton, and he actually won. Y'all had to, and the only way that Hillary Clinton could even be competitive was her history of, her false connection to black people, which I don't want to talk about that. So her false connection to black people in the South. Oh, her rigging of particular elections in the South, in particular big, large precincts in the South. It took all of the media giving her all of the attention. Bernie Sanders at one point had 2% focused on him. 2% of any media conversation focused on him, and it was mostly negative. It took totally blacking him out. Not only on TV, but on Facebook as well, to the point where they got called out about it. It took them rigging the super PAC situation. It took them literally, where we are in California right now is dealing with a precinct. They literally took hundreds of thousands of ballots and just made them disappear. Right now, it took all of this for you to be able to barely beat him. Oh, and the super delegates to barely beat him. This much. And you didn't even really win. And that was because you played the women card. If you're Joe Biden, you can't play the white man card. That's going to get you killed nowadays in the Democratic Party. They eating that up. You already done assaulted millennials. Like, you need to get out and be activists. Bro, what the fuck you think we're doing, bro? Like, how you think Bernie almost won? I do not anticipate Bernie Sanders being the absolute definition of a perfect president. I don't anticipate that. That's not what I want him to win for, though. I think that he's the closest. He will absolutely be the closest thing. But it's not Bernie that I am more so concerned with, as in the ripple effect that we will see because of him. The ripple effect. Because if Bernie beats whatever Democrat runs, then guess who's in charge of setting up the Democratic Party? Because guess what? The Democratic Party is especially dangerous because of how powerful they are. Okay? We also need ranked choice voting, which Bernie Sanders advocates for strongly. We also need better people in the White House, in the executive branch, in Bernie Sanders' administration. He picks those, and he's not going to let a corporation pick them for him. You get what you see how when we Secretary of State, CIA, FBI, these are all people that Bernie Sanders picks. Do I think he will be perfect? No, but his presidency will line up for a progressive vice president. I don't really anticipate him picking a neoliberal. I anticipate him probably picking Nina Turner or Tulsi Gabbard. I would, if he picked Nina, oh my Lord Jesus, y'all don't know what's going on. If he picks Nina Turner for vice president, oh, y'all. Oh, Jesus. If he picks Nina Turner for vice president, y'all are screwed. If you thought he was going to lose when he got the blackest black woman in all of black women politics to run as his vice president, oh no. He going to win. And if, God forbid, I don't want that to happen, if he passed away and we just had our first black woman president, the entire scale changes because it's a progressive. The landscape of politics in America, as we know it, could potentially change with the victory of Bernie Sanders. And that's why it is important. I'm not saying, like I said, if there's a better candidate, then vote for him or vote for her. If there's a better candidate, not just a candidate who isn't Bernie Sanders or isn't Joe Biden or whatever. I don't want to hear about the ageism. He's too old. He's healthier than every candidate. He's healthier than everybody who's announced that they're running. Dude runs every single day. I'm just saying. If you want change, think about it like this. Maybe you're not 100% in agreement, but think about how it would upset the system. Because they're doing whatever they can to obstruct him. If they're doing whatever they can to obstruct him, just like they're doing whatever they can to obstruct Trump, that should be a big-ass hint that he would ultimately be a dagger in the establishment that they do not think they can afford. But let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts in your comments below. Make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, and also hit that notification bell so that you can get updated on new videos whenever we release them. And always, always, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, Find your balance. Peace.